Okay, hello project managers. This is Cameron Goebel here. I just got the data points for the second training that you did on Wednesday the 10th. And I am crunching all those numbers for you. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what happened between the two classes that you taught. By now you should have an email that has a PDF in there on how to read a confidence graph. That's these color bars here. So take a look at that real quick. That'll explain some of the theory to you. You'll get some of this out of this too. Um, but just to show you, this is what I've been seeing in the numbers. So here's what we have. The columns going up and down are for the different days. So the data in these columns here has to do with Monday. The data in these columns here has to do with Wednesday, your second class. Going across, we see topics of confidence. So these two are both about explaining the 10 ways in which projects fail. So this is what your trainees thought about 10 ways in which projects fail on Monday. This is what they thought about 10 ways in which projects fail on Wednesday. So I've got a couple of these. As I said, I am going to crunch these down into a PowerPoint so that you can do presentations and have a nice document that shows you all of that in one place. But I wanted to show you what I was seeing. So on Monday, let's take a look here. On Monday, this is the confidence that your trainees felt in being able to explain the 10 ways in which projects fail. So we've got what they thought before they took the class, and we've got what they thought after the class. And just to explain this for you real quick, you had about a quarter of the people showing up not really sure where to start with being able to explain the 10 ways in which projects fail. And this is good because it means you're reaching people who really don't know what you're trying to teach them yet. So you're really getting into the folks that you're trying to reach. About 3/4 of the people thought that they could do it eventually, and I can tell that by the color chart here. So before they took the class, you had about a 75-25% split. Folks were not very confident that they could explain how projects fail in the 10 specific ways that you identified. After they took the class, we saw that about a quarter of the people felt that they could actually do it with ease. So their confidence rose up. They figured that they could easily talk about the 10 ways that projects fail. And everybody at least figured they could do it eventually. So nobody was left unsure where to start. Everybody thought they could slog through it at least, but you did have about a quarter of the people who thought that they could do it well. Let's move over to what happened on Wednesday, the same topic. So on Wednesday, you had maybe one or two people who thought they kind of knew what was going on there. But again, the majority of folks either could only do it eventually or really didn't know where to start. And that's about a 50-50 split between the remainder. So you're still reaching a good audience. If a lot of folks thought that they could do it with ease, you would probably start thinking about, do I really need to teach this topic or not? Or you could refine it down to hitting the major points and that sort of thing. But that's a whole different conversation. Before they showed up, most people figured they could slog their way through it. After they were done, about half the people, 45% or so, thought that they could do it with ease. So compare that to the 35% or so that you got last time to the 45% or so that you got this time. And keep in mind, this is actually a larger population of people that you were reaching. So you had a slightly larger effect than just the percentages would show. You actually reached more people. So what this is telling me is that you're getting a little more comfortable with training on this topic. You're getting a little more effective with it, and maybe the people who were in the class were a little more receptive to it. You can't always tell who's going to show up and what they bring to the party, so that's why this before thing is really nice to see. So good improvement on your training there. Moving down, we'll look at the next objective. This is about describing the life cycle of a project in terms of phases and activities. So take a look at this real quick. What do you notice between the two before days? They're almost the same, right? This profile is just about the same. You've got about 70% of the people who could do it eventually and about 30% of the people who just did not know where to start on Monday. On Wednesday, you had the same thing. 70% of the people who could do it eventually, about 30% who didn't even know where to start. Now take a look at the after, and this is where you really start to see that things are picking up for you guys. Your training is working very nicely and improving your practice. So after, everyone could at least do it eventually on Monday. But on Wednesday, not only could everyone eventually do it at least, but you got some people who felt like they could do it with ease, and you even got a few who thought they could teach other people how to describe the life cycle of a project in terms of phases and activities. This is what you want to really start seeing. You want to see these greens and purples start creeping their way over to the right, because that means that you've got people who can easily do the job or can start teaching other people how, and that's one way that we build sustainability and institutional wisdom is by helping people get to the point where they feel they can teach instead of relying on a trainer. So again, congratulations. This is a great result. It means that your training practice is improving and that you're reaching the people who are receptive to the ideas that you have and they're taking them and starting to run with them. Finally, recognizing the management tools that a project manager might ask you to use. This is where you start seeing the sort of practice that you did with the baking exercises that are sort of sprinkled throughout the whole course. And I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I think you can see what's going on now. Before you had about a 50-50 split of people who could do it eventually or didn't know where to start. On Wednesday, you had more folks who thought they could do it with ease. And so that contributed, I think, a little bit to the after effects here. But on Monday, you got about a 35% improvement. On Wednesday, you got about a, what would you call that, like a 35% improvement as well. But you did walk out with everybody at least knew where to start and could get through it eventually, and that's a positive result. So be proud of that. Keep thinking about ways that you can refine your approach, and I would encourage you not to overwork it, but I do want you to know that you all seem to be on the right track. You're meeting your objectives, and people are walking out better than they walked in, which is always a good starting point. I'll keep doing this sort of analysis for you and crunch it down, but for right now, I think your project is going well, and I'm confident in your success. Thanks.